So today we're modifying a Dakota driveway alarm system. It's installed and it's working fine. Very happy with this product. Put the probe that goes underneath the driveway in a conduit here just to protect it. It's buried about 10 inches underneath the driveway. A couple of things. We got a lot of excess wire we're going to cut off and run into the control panel or the transmitter. And the other thing that we're going to do today is we're going to upgrade the battery system. So the unit comes with 4 small batteries wired together in series to give it 12 volts. Not sure how much life they have in them. So we're going to modify this and add a small lead acid battery and a solar panel with external charging lugs that we can charge the battery. It probably only need to be charged a couple times a year. This thing doesn't draw very much power. So there's a YouTube video that will show you how to find, you can see the red and black wire there, the connections for the output of this 4 battery pack, and I've soldered little lugs on a positive wire and a negative wire, and that's what we're going to connect to the lead acid battery. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a little, what looks like a bird box to put around this. As you can see, the transmitter itself is ruggedized and it's good for outdoor use, but the battery that I purchased will not fit inside. So we're going to make an enclosure to hold both of them, put the battery inside, keep it out of the weather, put external charging lugs. We can put the solar panel on it once in a while, and disguise it all into what looks like a little bit of a birdhouse. So that's our project for today. So what we've built here is a crude looking little bird house, and inside we're going to install this small 12 volt lead acid battery. There's another YouTube video that shows how to put leads on the Dakota driveway alarm for another battery rather than the small internal batteries that it comes with. We're also going to put a couple power lugs on the outside of the birdhouse for a solar panel. This battery doesn't need to be charged very often, maybe twice a year. So we're going to put a couple lugs on there that we can hook a solar panel up to for a day or two to recharge it maybe once or twice a year. Stay tuned. So I put 2 holes through the side of the side panel with nuts and washers on that side, and on the outside just the bolts stick out and just 2 nuts through there. You can see they've sucked into the wood a little bit, but those are going to be our charging lugs for hooking up the solar panel on the outside. Next we're going to connect the wiring to these nuts on the inside of the box. The supplies I'm going to be using for this part of the project are pretty simple. A couple of crimp-on lugs that are going to go on to the connector there, and some, again, crimp-on spade connectors that are going to connect to the battery, some wire. But before we make all these connections and crimp them on, I'm going to solder the end of the wire, that copper piece. I'm just going to tin that with a bit of solder on each end just to give us a better electrical connection. Okay, so what I've done now is I've put the spade lugs, crimped them onto one end of the wire. I've labeled one with red tape as the positive. And this wire now goes up to the 2 connectors that we're going to use for our solar panel. And the other end here, again, it's the same red. So this is the positive side. Both these wires and this one on the right is the positive, and these 2 are the negative. And now we're just going to connect these to the external charging posts and the spade lugs to the battery. That's going to leave us with 2 connectors left over. These 2 guys, labeled red and black, and that's what's going to power the driveway alarm itself. So as I said earlier, there's a good video on YouTube that shows you how to meter out the connections inside the Dakota driveway alarm and figure out where the 2 ends are there for the positive and negative, because there are a bunch of batteries in series. So you can figure out where the positive and negative are, solder some little wires on there, and that's what we're going to connect this power system to. So now we have everything connected. There's the spade lugs connected to the battery, positive and negative. That wire goes into our charging lugs. We're just going to test it here with a little tester. And yes, we do have power there. And then we have what we've been after all along, there's the internal lugs. And we've got now the cable here, power, that's going to power the device itself. So now we're going to put this whole bird box together and install it down on the post. So I've just built a simple little box that's going to look like a birdhouse once I put the roof on it here in a second. And I hinged the front section so that we're going to be able to get at the battery. And I'm going to put the control box in there next. Of course, there's the wires that we're going to connect to the unit itself very shortly. So here's the completed box with the roof on it, the access door here that comes up. That's not a real hole, it's just painted on with magic marker. The charging lugs on the side, and the back is just all plywood. Some plywood I had laying around and some old metal roofing I had laying around. So this is going to hold the battery, and it's going to hold the transmitter for the Dakota alarm. And then we've got the charging lugs on the outside to put a solar panel on to charge that once or twice a year. So the next things that I'm going to do is we're going to shorten the lead that goes to the probe. I've got about 20 extra feet of wire. We don't need that. So we're going to cut that off and shorten that. And the other thing we're going to do for these two wires I have on here that are going to go to the lead acid battery, we're going to need to drill a hole through the side of the case here to put those through to connect to the battery. So that's the step that we're going to do next. So there we go, there's the final product. It's mounted on top of the conduit. There's the charging lugs on the outside, and inside there's the transmitter, there's the little battery, and of course it's connected to the charging lugs on the inside.